Hi, let's talk about the important blocks in Scratch. So, at the end of the lesson, you should be able to say what events are, use event blocks in your programs, know the different loops in Scratch, and understand the coordinate system used in Scratch. From the last video, we learned that all blocks are put in 9 colored categories so that one can find and use them easily. While all blocks are important, there are some that are very important because they must be used when creating meaningful programs. Let's start with the events block. In programming and in Scratch in particular, an event is an action that happens because you clicked on the mouse button or touchpad button or touch screen as the case may be, or you press the key on the keyboard, or your program did something such as receiving a message or changing a backdrop. Every script in Scratch must start with an event block. In other words, they are essential for every project. The 6 heart blocks, so called because they are shaped like a heart, do not allow any blocks above them. We are going to use some of them very soon in some examples. But let's move on to the control blocks and talk about the important blocks in that category. The blocks in the control category help with the flow of your program. For now, we focus on the control blocks that allow you repeat instructions. These blocks are called loops. The loop blocks are control blocks that rerun the blocks stacked inside them. There are 3 in number: the repeat block, the repeat until block, and the forever block. Blocks put inside a repeat block execute one after the other a certain number of times specified by you. Here it is 10 times. This script snippet here says that one should repeat the 3 blocks inside it 10 times. Let's go to the Scratch environment to give this script to a sprite. We have just learned that all scripts should start with an event block. So I'm going to events and then I'll drag out the when space key is pressed. And I'm going to change the instruction from space to any. Now the script is complete. The script to the sprite says that when I press any key on the keyboard, repeat the following set of instructions 10 times. Move 10 pixel steps forward. Change the costume. And say hello for half a second. Now I want you to notice the sprite's value of X before I run the script. It is currently on 0. We run our sprite by pressing any key on the keyboard. The value of X changes with each step by 10, and after the 10th repeat it is at 100. It happens very fast. Now I want you to notice the sprite's value of Y before I run the script again. It is currently on 0. This time around I'm going to change its direction so that it points upwards, and that means putting it on 0. Now when I run the script, the value of Y changes with each step by 10, and after the 10th repeat it is at 100. Let's take this moment to talk about the coordinate system in Scratch. The center of the stage has a coordinate of 0, 0. 0, 0 means that x is 0 and y is 0. If we move the sprite to the left, the value of x changes negatively. If we move it to the right, the value of x changes positively. Similarly, if we move the sprite to the bottom, the y value changes negatively. And if we move it to the top, the value changes positively. The combined values of x and y helps us get and set the position of a sprite on a stage. The blocks that deal with coordinates are found under the motion category of blocks, and they are x position, y position, change x by 10, set x to 0, change y by 10, and set y to 0. We now have an idea of the Scratch coordinate system. Just so we are not lost, blocks put inside the repeat block repeat one after the other a certain number of times. The next loop we want to discuss is the repeat until block. Blocks put inside the repeat until block executes one after the other until the Boolean statement is true. A Boolean expression is a statement that evaluates to either true or false. In this script snippet, the Boolean expression is the sprite's x position greater than 50? So the snippet can be interpreted as repeat until the sprite's x position is greater than 50 the 3 instructions inside me, which are move 10 steps, next costume, and wait 1 second. Let's go to the Scratch environment to see this script in action. To complete this script, we have to add an event block. Let's use the when the sprite clicked block. So events, when this sprite clicked, snap that in place. If I move the sprite a little bit to the front here, where x is 140 and y is minus 15, and I click on the sprite, nothing happens. Can you say why? This is because the Boolean expression is already true. The value of x, which is already greater than 50. So these 3 blocks do not execute. Let me drag the sprite way to the left. See that the sprite starts to move, and it keeps moving until the value of x is greater than 50. Once it is greater than 50, it stops. The final loop block that I want to talk about is the forever block. The forever block is also found under control. Blocks put inside a forever block executes one after the other over and over until the stop button is used to end the script. In this code snippet, 2 blocks inside it executes again and again until you press the stop button. Again, we go to the Scratch environment to test this out. I'm going to use a ballerina sprite this time around, and I want to show you the number of costumes that this sprite has. There are 4 costumes. So putting an event block at the top to complete the script, to pick the when green flag is clicked, the ballerina will change costume because the first instruction says next costume. Then wait for a second. Then because we have used a forever block, it will go back to the first instruction again, and then the next instruction, which is wait for a second, and it will go back to next costume, then wait for 1 second, and it will do this until you press the stop button. I'm going to press the stop button. So we have learned about events, loops, and coordinates. We have also written some scripts to control our sprites. Check the description for a link to a short quiz. Please like the video and subscribe and share with your friends. Also, recreate all the programs shown in this lesson in the Scratch environment so it becomes a part of you. If you don't know how to save your work, check out the link attached to see a tutorial on how to create an account and save your work. In the next lesson, we move to another important block in Scratch, the conditional blocks. See you soon.